Okay, in this video, I just want to look at how we can display dynamic data based on today's day. So different data for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, depending on what the actual day is. So here's an example where we've just got some simple business hours. We've got an open time and a close time and just a day name up here. Now, we're going to use the PHP function, the date function, with the format of W, and W gets the current day number from 0 through to 6, with 0 being Sunday. What we need to do so that we can compare today's day number with what we want to actually pull out, the information we want to pull out for that day, we need to have a day number here. So I've got Sunday as 0, Monday is 1, all the way through to Saturday is 6 down here. Now, this is a Crock-a-Block options page. So we've got an option page called Business Details. I'm not going to go into how we create all these. This Business Details has a business hours repeater. And in that business hours is where we set the day name, day 0 through to 6, the open and the close time. So that's what we want to pull the information from. I've put another field up here called name, just to show you something that I didn't realize with Crock-a-Block. So the name field is a standard text field. The business hours is a repeater field, and it has a day name in there. Now I'm going to show you why I've done that. So coming back to our business details, so that's what we want to display. So today, as I'm actually creating this tutorial, it's actually Monday. So when I pull the information for today, I want to see Monday opening hours of 7 a.m., closing hours of 6 p.m. So if we have a look at a front end page where I've done this, so I've used a shortcode widget and put a shortcode in which pulls that information. And as today is Monday, I'm getting 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've used the same shortcode on the iconless widget, just with one item, on a heading widget, and on a text editor widget. In the text editor widget, I've told it to include the day name. So tomorrow, that'll say Tuesday with the Tuesday opening hours, Wednesday the next day, etc. So that's what we want to achieve. Now, fortunately, with Crock-a-Block, there's one thing I wish that they would add, and not to downplay it because it's an incredibly powerful tool or set of tools. But one thing that I did notice is that if I just grab a dynamic field, and I say I put that in there, and I want to pull that from my option, and I select the options, I only get the name. I don't get the business opening hours or the business hours in the drop down because it's a repeater. It won't display it in a dynamic field. It'd be great if it did, because if it did, and we could just select the repeater field here, and it'd be great if we could have, like in the filter field output, if we could have like a custom callback, and then we could just go through the repeater and display the information that we want for that one item. So in this case, it's the day of the week, could be the day of the month, could be the month of the year. So in January, display certain information, and in February, display other information. It'd be brilliant if that was available. We could actually just select the repeater, have a callback to a custom callback. So like in the Elementor post, where you can have a custom query, and you put the query ID, it fires an event, and then you can use that as your callback. So if they had a similar thing here, if they had a callback ID, then you can create some code run on that callback ID. That would be brilliant. All right, now, so the only other option they've got is a dynamic repeater field. If I get the dynamic repeater field, tricky to drag and drop when you've got a few bits and pieces in here. There we go. So if I now click my drop down, options, now I get business hours because that's a repeater in that options page, but I don't get the name because it's not a repeater. So if I put there, and I put day name, for example, day name, I now get Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Ideally, we could probably do something with this, but unfortunately, there's no filtering. So I can't actually filter this to say that, I only want to pull one item out of that repeater. So it's either everything in the repeater or nothing. So these fields here are not usable to pull that information. So what we've had to do instead is create shortcodes. So if we look at the shortcode widget up here, I've created a shortcode, which is CB for Crocker-Block. I get hours for current day is my shortcode. Here's my attribute there. So what I'm saying is I want to select the page slug as the business details, and the option name is business hours. Time format is a PHP time format, and all I want is the hours in 24 hours, so 1 through to 12, 0 through to 12. Then I want the minutes, and I don't want a colon there. I don't know what there. And then I want the AM or PM in lowercase. If I change that to an uppercase A, I get the AM or PM in uppercase. So just have a look at the PHP time and date format functions, and you can do exactly what you want to do there. So put that back to what it was. Then I've got a show name, that is to show the day name on these widgets up here. I've got it set to false. In the text area widget down here, I've got it set to true. And then I've got a separator, which maybe I'll put a space in there. So now I've got a space between them. So it's pretty useful little shortcode. Now, so just coming back to this, so the business details page slug is from this business details option pages. Is my page slug for my option page. That's the option page. The business hours is the option that I want. So going back to here, we've got business details as this page slug. The option name is business hours. That's where I'm getting that from. Okay, so just hopping over to the code for the shortcode. So I'm using PHP code snippets. Great little plugin. And what I'll do is I'll export this as a JSON, and I'll put a link to it in the details at the bottom of this video. And you can download it yourself and play with it if you like. It's a great little program. It's called code snippets. And you can import this JSON file and get that there. So I'll put a very brief description at the top here as a typical sort of a shortcode. You can just copy and paste that and start from there if you want. So all we're doing is typical shortcode where we're setting the defaults, so the time format, show name, separator, page slug, and option name as being empty. We then use some JetEngine functions to find the page slug, so the options page for the page slug, get the value for the option name. In both cases, if either of these are not available, so if you put in the wrong information or left them blank, it's going to return this error message instead. We then go through and we check the item that we're going through. So give a for each, go through the item. The item is one of these. So each one of these is an item. We look at the item, the day field. So we go to item day, and if it's not equal to the PHP date W, which is the current day 0 through to 6, and we don't use the PHP time function here. We use the WordPress current time function as a timestamp, and the reason for that is that this takes into account the WordPress settings for your time zone. So under your basic settings in WordPress, your general settings, you have a time zone, and if you have used this current time function, it will take that into account when it's working out what day it is. So wherever this is sitting on a server, it will have its own time. And if you run this just as time, PHP time function, it's going to get the local time on that server, not local time that's set up in your WordPress. So that's the reason we do that. So basically, if it's not equal to the day, then just continue to the next item. And then once it is equal to the day, we want to set our selected item to whatever that item is. So we're picking whatever these are. So in today's case, the day number is 1. And so we want to select this item. So this is going to iterate through that. It's going to return a 1 from there. It's going to say, okay, well, that equals 1 over here. So then we're going to make that the selected item. Okay, and then all we're doing here is starting a string that we're going to return. If the attribute's show name is set to true, then get the selected item's day name. And then PHP to concatenate strings as a dot, and then we've got the separator. Or if not, this is a PHP additional, I can't remember what they call it, as a construct. So it's basically the question mark. So that is true, then that's the value it's going to apply to that string. Otherwise, after the colon is what's going to be applied. So if that is false, it's going to make it empty string. So I should only add the day name if show name set to true. Just a comment on that. So with the WordPress shortcodes, you can't set a boolean, so a proper true or false. So this is a string with true or string with false that we're comparing. Just be aware of that. If you don't put the speech marks around this, that true is completely different to this true. First one's a boolean, this one's a string. We've got to compare the string because that's what we're sending in the shortcode. So basically, then we get the open date, open time, I should say, and we use the time format that we set either as a default or in the shortcode, and we go string to time as the selected time open. So that's going to create a PHP timestamp based on this open. It's going to get the time format and apply that to the. We do the same thing with the close date, and then we return that string. That's pretty much how that shortcode works. And what we end up with is the ability to use it in a shortcode widget, icon list widget. The icon list, sorry, that's just the header. Look at the icon list. All I've done is a single item, got a time icon, and in the text, use my shortcode. Heading widget is just straight into the heading widget. Text editor widget, we've got some copy, and then we've got our widget, our shortcode at the bottom here. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that once it's set up. This could be anything. This could be you could have a different message for each day of the year. You could have a different offer for each month of the year, and maybe it even just links to a ID of a page or something. On a certain day of the year, it will link to a particular page for an offer or something. But this is just one way of achieving that. So hopefully that was useful. Again, I'll export the PHP code snippet. I'll export that so it's importable. With the options pages, I'm not sure if we can export those, but I'll try. I don't know if we can. I'll have a look and see if we can. If we can, I will. So there we go. Skins Manager, export, post types, business, options pages. There we go. So yeah, so I'll export these files and I'll add links to them at the bottom of my YouTube video. And you can either go through and create it yourself, or you can use this as a starting point. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be something that you can use. And if you do, let me know. And I'm always happy to see what people do with the stuff that I share. Thank you.